Hello! So this is this week's meal here. We've got these two bags. The first thing to do, this you have to do this before you do everything else, is get this weird looking black thing out in a bag. This is a cracker that we're going to make. I've made it in advance from squid ink and tapioca, but it needs deep frying. So basically, I'm going to put it in some hot oil, any kind of neutral flavoured oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, peanut oil, etc. And you can tell when it's ready, basically, if you just chuck a piece of bread in there and it kind of browns within, say, 5-10 seconds, that's a kind of okay. We're looking at the oil being about 180. As soon as it goes in, it's going to start to puff up. Try and get it out as quick as possible because it's really, really easy to overcook it and get it burnt. You can do this well ahead of time. It's not going to make any difference at all. Obviously, because you're deep frying things, it's a little bit dangerous. So try and get it done ahead of time, and then it'll be much less stress when you're preparing the main course where it features. Right, so for the first course, we're going to do velouté, which is just like a velvety type of soup. It's made with pumpkin, and it's kind of slightly influenced by Restaurant Arpège in Paris, which is an amazing restaurant that I really like. Vegetables are the focus there. I had a soup very similar to this there, and it was so simple, so delicious. So I can't guarantee it's the 3-star Michelin Arpège level, but it's pretty tasty. So this is a soup, it's quite thick. We're just going to warm it up. Obviously you can do it in a microwave or in a pan. If you do it in a microwave, do it in blasts and stir it regularly, otherwise it could catch on the sides. Just going to warm it in a pan, and we are literally just warming it. We don't want to boil it or anything like that, just a steady heat. Right, so the other things we've got with it, the garnish that goes with it, basically is, this is just some chive oil. This is just in a little plastic bag that you've got. You just need to decant it. If you use it straight from the fridge, you just need to let it come up to temperature a little bit because it is quite thick. It's been in the fridge. Some pine nuts, some barrel-aged feta, really nice feta, some flowers. We use a little bit of this for garnish now and a little bit later on with the dessert, and just some whipped cream. So I'm just heating the velouté. Nearly there. Okay, that's heated. So it's just a quick assembly job now. So I just pop the velouté in the bottom. It's not a big bowl, this. We basically just kind of want to cover the base of the bowl, and then we take some feta. Just put it around there in little bits. I love feta cheese, good feta cheese. It's delicious with just about anything, really. Just wash my hands. So on with some pine nuts. These have just been toasted previously. So I'm just going to put some of the chive oil around it. Be quite generous with this. So this is a completely vegetarian dish again. Probably won't do this. Just pop some of the petals on. So to plate it, we're just going to take a little bit of cream. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to warm a spoon and put that in there just to help kind of shape it. So I just run it under some hot water. And I'll just soften it off in our hand, just using the heat of your hand to heat it. Just pop that in there, like that, and that's our soup. Right then, on to our main course. So I'm using a small piece of meat because I've been eating it all day. So I've given you a nice big piece, but we've just got a little piece here. So you can see this is, it looks like Wagyu beef, but actually it's Iberico pork. This is Presa, the cooked Presa, and it's from a Bellota grade pig, which is the highest grade you can get. What we've done with this is I've brined it, so it's almost like semi-ham, and then it's been cooked sous vide in a water bath, 60 degrees for 4 hours and held there. Then it's chilled right down in ice cold water and refrigerated. The cool thing about this is it's going to make it a lot easier for you to cook for 2 reasons. First of all, the brine actually seasons it, so you don't need to worry about how much salt you put on there. Just taste it, and if it's not salty enough, you can add a little bit extra, but to me, it's seasoned perfectly. So you don't need anything on here, you don't even need to add pepper or anything. I'm just going to cut it open. So all we're doing here is just 2 things. First of all, adding colour, because Maillard reactions of browning basically make things taste better, taste more meaty. So we want to get that colour on there, the brownness, and also obviously it's going to heat it through. So what we don't want to do is overcook it. Obviously I've taken a lot of care to cook it absolutely perfectly. This will still be pink, that's how it should be, and that's basically because it's been brined. It's been cooked to a safe level. This type of pork is completely different to normal pork anyway. It's a completely different animal effectively. It eats different diets, different breed, etc. So we just got a little bit of oil in our pan, and we want to colour it on all sides. I'll just start it on that side. Just going to wash my hands. So you want to get good colour on every surface. Very important. Probably best if you use tongs. Personally, I use a spoon, but tongs are probably a little bit safer. I want to get as much surface area of this brown as possible. So you can baste it with a little oil as well. That helps. Get a bit of colour on this side. So you've got 2 options. Unfortunately with this pork, all the pieces are different shapes and sizes. So I've made them all approximately the same weight, but some will be thinner, some will be thicker, etc. So you've got to use your judgment as to when you think it's warm in the middle. The good news is it's quite forgiving, so you can slice it, and if it's not that warm, you can just put the slices back in the oven and just let them warm through. So you can either just pan fry it if it's thin, a couple of minutes each side and a rest. This is pan fried fine actually. What I'm going to do though, I am going to run it through the oven a little bit, just because it's quite boring for you to just watch me standing here for 6 minutes just doing this. So I'm just going to pop it in the oven, and I'll come back to you in a second when it's ready. So I think my meat's going to be done. I'm just going to go and check it. So really important, guys, when you go to get it out of the oven, because some people did this last week and burnt their hands, you need an oven glove or a really thick tea towel. Please don't touch it with your bare hands because you will burn yourself. That looks good, nice colour on it. So basically that's been coloured on the pan, and it's been in a moderate oven, 160, for about 3-4 minutes. The way to test if it's done, depends on whatever size it is, it's always the same. Just stick a knife into the middle of it, leave it 5 seconds or so, take it out, touch it on your lip, and if it's warm, it's ready. This one's ready. So I'm gonna take it now, and it's just gonna rest for a few minutes. And while it's resting, I'm gonna prepare the other parts of the dish. So I'll just get rid of this frying pan. Right then, so this is the cracker once it's actually puffed up. This is going to be gone at the end. And then we've got some other bits of garnish. This is Camargue black rice, and it'll be cooked down with lots of things. And then it's got a piece of andouille on it, which is a spice fermented sausage from Calabria, which I think is delicious, one of my favourite ingredients. A little bit of sprouting broccoli. And then a couple of other things. So this is one of my absolute favourite things. You know that skanky garlic mayonnaise you get at kebab shops? Well, I just kind of love the combination of meat and something like that. So I decided to do a sort of high-end version of it. So what this is, it's an emulsion of goat's cheese and garlic. Very, very powerful. So have a little taste of it, see if you like it. If you don't like it, you're crazy, because it's delicious. And obviously that'll determine how much you put on the plate. It is quite strong, so don't go crazy with it. We'll come to that later. So basically, you can heat this either in a pan or a microwave. I'm just going to do it in a pan. I'll just grab a pan. So remember, when we're cooking rice, it's essential that it's always really, really well cooked. It has to be cooked till it's red hot. So I'll pop it in a pan. We're just going to leave a little bit of water in there, just about a tablespoon to start it off. I'll just use this. Pop a bit of water in. And you just want to kind of mash that andouille. Right, I'm going to transfer this now to a low heat, just to let it continue heating through. You might need a little splash of water in before we serve it, so make sure it's not bone dry. Let's pop it over here. Right, so to cook the broccoli, same as last week, we've got a butter emulsion, so basically it's butter, tiny little bit of water. I'm just going to put in there some salt. You can put a pinch of sugar in there if that's if you like sweet, but for me, that's enough. So the sprouting broccoli, you just trim off the ends, just make sure that it's tender, and then same as we did asparagus last week, we pop it in here. Make sure it comes right up to the heat. And then when you see steam coming out of the pan, pop a timer on for 2 minutes exactly. Turn the heat down now. So, as I said in the last week's video, in case you didn't see it, this is how we cook most of our vegetables here. We don't pre-blanch them and then reheat them like most places, because basically you just lose all the flavour in a big load of water and you're cooking it out twice. So this is how we do it here. Ideally, you want to cook it to such an extent that all the water evaporates and it's just kind of dressed with the butter. But just a couple of minutes. This has gone okay. Right, so one more thing to show you. You've got a pouch of this edible charcoal. Now, Tony's actually banned me from using this at the supper club because it goes everywhere and it stains terribly. So if you get it on your tablecloth, it's not going to come out. If you're using a napkin and you wipe your mouth, it's not going to come out. And it's a pain to get off, but it kind of looks quite cool. So we're going to use it. If you're not bothered about that, then obviously just leave it off. It doesn't bring anything to the dish other than visual kind of appeal. So when we serve this, usually we have the white sauce that I just kind of use a squeezy bottle to go around the plate. and the plate's black, so you get that contrast of black and white. Now, I'm guessing that most people here haven't got a black plate, so I'm going to do it on a white plate. So just to bring the black element into it, I just thought I'd add the charcoal. So it's up to you whether you use it or not. Right, what I'm going to do now, my meat's been resting, and I just want to show you something here. This is the same for all meat. It's really important when you cut meat that you cut across the grain. So you can see the grain is running that way, okay? So what I wouldn't want to do is cut it like that along the grain, okay? I want to cut it the other way because basically it will be a lot more tender if we do that. Right, my timer's ready for my broccoli. Just going to check it. Looking good. All right, just get it out. So we just pop this on here to drain. So I think I'll take it from this side. So I'll cut it nice and thin, just so it's nice and tender. Now this meat has absolutely loads of fat marbled through it. It's monounsaturated fat because the pigs actually eat acorns. So it's kind of really healthy. But I don't know if you can see the see the beautiful bands of fat in that. That's our pork. Yours will be a bit bigger than that. Right, so I'm going to plate it up now. Just clear some space. Right, so the black rice. Cooked through. Just going to put a final splash of water in there. If it's dry like that, it just always needs a little bit of water. Right, that's perfect. You see a little residue of water, that's exactly what you want. We just pop some of this on the plate. Pork on top. Just pop our broccoli there. So now onto this sauce. So you can just be creative with this. You can just put blobs of it. If you've got a squeezy bottle, you can put it in there. But because we're going to chuck the charcoal all over it, you can be quite kind of creative with it, really. So finally, you just get a little bit of this and throw it across the plate. Then we had our cracker. So there you've got Kumar black rice and andouille, squid ink cracker, Iberico pork presser, the broccoli, garlic sauce and charcoal. Okay, so dessert. Real simple. It's a lemon posset. We use really lovely organic lemons. It's one of my favourite things to eat. Very simple. You've just got a few things to put on it, so we're just going to actually dress it in the tub. Now, we use these raspberries and they do vary in size quite a bit. If they're smaller, we've given you slightly more. If they're larger, giving you less. And these are really large ones, so I'm actually going to, just rather than sticking two massive raspberries on there, I'm just going to cut them down. So, We've got that. Then we've got some Italian meringue that's just dusted with dehydrated raspberries. So we'll pop some of that on. Pop this on first. Just put some shards of the meringue into there. I think I'll put it on there because I do like raspberries. And then we've got some of the flowers that we left from earlier. And then to serve with it, we just made some really super shortbread, bit of a secret recipe of ours, and it's just got a little bit of raspberry sugar on top of it. So obviously just eat that with a spoon, take a bite of the shortbread, and it's really my kind of dessert, that really simple, really acidic, and you just want to keep eating more. Enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed the videos. If you could, please tag us on Facebook when you actually do your meal. So it's The Kitchen and Cook on Instagram. On Facebook, it's The Gourmet Dining Room, or obviously my personal profile, Michael Price. One thing I forgot to mention is the bread is much nicer if you actually heat it up in the oven. So stick the oven on at about 150 before you start your meal. Get your bread in there. Give it about 25-30 minutes so it's nice and warm and crusty. Thank you.